This is the NatureWatch website, which we will be using as one of our options and not the only option for our citizen science module on OTL. That's for people working together with me in term 4 of this year. It is social media, which means it's a bit like Facebook. You can put photographs and comments there and other people can see them, but it's more open than Facebook because people can see them who aren't members of the site. Some of the people who will see them will be citizen scientists, ordinary people interested in living things, and some of them are professional scientists. Now, because it is social media, we will want your parents to give, or supervisors to give permission for you to use the website. If you are not 13 yet, your parent or supervisor will be making an account or a login on the website instead of you, because that's what the law requires, and hopefully they'll be nice to you and let you upload some observations on the site. So when I say observations, let's see what it is that I mean. So if we just click on observations here, let's try that again because nothing's happening. We get recent observations that have been made by members of the public. Most of these are in the form of photographs. Some of them are sound recordings of things like birds. You may find that you land on the map view the first time. So by default it's highlighting New Zealand and showing New Zealand observations. And over here it's got what's been uploaded lately, so you can see something was uploaded just 10 minutes ago and 11 minutes ago and what they are. You may find you land on the list view. I find the grid view the most interesting. I can have a good look and see what's cool. You get lots of plants. They don't run away when you try to photograph them, although sometimes they bob around in the wind, and you get insects and birds and all kinds of creatures. So let's just click on one of them to see what it is you see. In some views you see these squares and you hover over them and you get a big one, and I'm still finding out what happens in which view, but we'll click on this one, and he's just taken one photo. There are no thumbnails underneath. The map shows us where this was taken, so think about where you're going to photograph your creatures. A public place like a park is probably a better place than home because you're going to be putting the data on the map. We can go and see the original photo that this guy took, which has loads and loads of detail. That's interesting to look at, but it's also very helpful for identifying species. Some of them will have just a little dot like that, and that will make the difference between it being one species and another. In this case, that's not what makes the difference. Also, having additional photographs can be super helpful. If it's a plant, having the bud and the flower and the seed pod and the leaf and the whole tree can help people to be sure and identify it. Because what's going on is we're trying to have two people agree on the identity of your organism, and then if it's also got a time and a place, it will be marked research grade. In other words, this is a trustworthy identification of this creature. So let's go back to observations in general. Actually, I will search for the power slug. Now this is a creature I didn't even know about before I joined this website, but what's great here is that we've got an example that is being discussed quite a lot. I looked at that and I thought it's a slug or a snail, so I put this identification here, which is the main group that includes New Zealand slugs and snails. It says common. If you wasn't sure it's common, it isn't. It's quite rare, but that's just what comes in when you type in Stylometaphora. So we had some ordinary conversation about it, but then we had some discussion about, was it really identified correctly? This guy seems to be a professional scientist, and he's saying it looks like a different schizoglossa than the one the photographer thought it was. Then they suggested it was a long way south, implying so maybe that's not what it is. And this person uploaded a map, not this map here, which shows where this guy found it, and should show other observations of the species. There they are, these dots. In some views they're mini balloons. But he found this other dot, this other map that shows in another site where this species has been found. And interestingly, 3 of our dots are further south than any of those. So this website is really extending people's understanding about where this species can be found. So we took off the species, we've gone to agreeing on the genus here, which is the group above a species, and that's what you're aiming for with the photos you upload, to agree on the genus. So we've had quite a discussion about this species, and we've also got an example of 2 photos. That one's staying still, that one's moving. They were photographed in the same location on the same night by the same photographer. If we go here, we get general information about the species. Often there's a photo here, there is the Wikipedia page, there is the map, there is where it fits in the tree of life, recent observations, and you can go view all observations. And that's back to seeing those 4 records. If we go back to a ladybird, you find that with quite a large group it's interesting to see the different kinds, and often if you scroll down you'll see different stages of the life cycle. It's just going to, oh no, here we are. So there is the larva. So that's the observations view, or if you go here, the species view. So that searches under observations. It would be the same if I put ladybirds there. If I go under species, ladybirds, what I see here is all the New Zealand species, which is another interesting way to use the site. So have an explore, click around, find something you've never seen before, look for all the observations of a species to find out just how widespread it is, like with this one here. You can look at the map. It's in Australia and New Zealand. You can look at view all observations and see how often they're coming up. Different, that's like the chrysalis, it's attached at that end. Different stages of the life cycles are more obvious there. You can see some are slightly more orange and more yellow. And just keep exploring the site for now and seeing how it works before you upload observations of your own. You can see that the last one of these has been contributed 4 months ago, so over the winter people haven't been seeing very many of them. That's just one more example of the kind of thing you can find. Have fun with it.